positive energy and good vibrations from me to you. You have now tuned in to the Imperfect Fathers Podcast. You better believe it. You better believe it. This is the Imperfect Fathers Podcast, and this is RJD, the Imperfect Gentleman. Yo, what it do, good people? We back again. We apologize on our tardiness. Yes, we know it's a whole nother day, and we are a day late. But guess what? Better late than never. That's what my grandmother always told me. But guess what? We here. Are we in the building or what? And we got a special guest on the special time. But before I even get into all that, yo, Troy, say what up to good people, man.
First of all, your grandmother used to tell you when you go to church and get baptized, don't go down a dry devil and cup up a wet one. That's what your grandmother used to tell you. No, you was in that Pentecostal church. You know, they had the whole pool under the pulpit.
Yo, I never understood how they did that either, Troy. Like, as a kid, I was scared. I used to be like, you're walking across the pulpit, like after service. Oh, I was like, yo, am I gonna fall in this water? Like, this is crazy.
Like Doc had an Olympic size swimming pool at his church, man.
I bet. The Hollywood Baptist.
Yo, leave my church alone, man. Listen.
Oh man. Listen, you know I can't help but clown. But what's up, good people? Listen, happy Monday to everybody. I hope everybody out there had a fantastic Monday. It's your man TR Tribble. You know, we bringing y'all another episode of Imperfect Fathers Podcast. And like Doc said, man, we got a special guest up at the top, Mr. Mike Williams. Mike, what it do?
He's not even a special guest. Like, he's not even a guest. Like, yo, Mike is home, man. Like, he's here. We on his platform. Like, yo, listen, shout out to the Breakthrough Kings, man. As a matter of fact, what up, homie?
What's up? I was like, yo, I saw y'all on the calendar. I was like, yes. I'm gonna hop on the podcast real quick, and I'm shutting it down early. I was like, "Yes, I'm hopping on the podcast, bro."
Yo, listen, Mike.
So Mike came to Swagger Jack tonight. Is that what it is?
Word.
yo, but hold on. Let me tell you how smooth Mike was. I thought Mike was going hard with it, so I said, "Yo, Mike, listen, we about to do a doubleheader tonight." Mike was like, "Nah. I'm about to jump on with you."
Word,
I think we're about to go one right into his joint. He was like, "No, we're gonna rock out right now."
Yes, sir. Because it's gonna go right into it anyway, probably. So
you better believe it. The conversation is gonna be phenomenal tonight, guys. Listen, we have other two that might pop in. You know those two. You know how they do. But anyway, you know how we do around here. We got to do our regular protocol, which is talk to our Father and pay our bills. So with that being said, Father, we thank you for another week. We're grateful for our life, our health, our strength, our positions, and where we are. We understand that we lead from the bottom, God. We understand that we are the foundations of our family, and we are grateful for the positions in our family. Right now, God, we ask you to look over us as we go over the airwaves, that we may say something that may help benefit, and also move somebody to do something better for themselves, inspire them to be a better version of themselves for themselves and their family. God, we ask you to do those things right now. In Jesus' name, we do pray. Amen.
Amen.
Yo, tonight, man, we're gonna talk about the Bills right quick. The Bills, the music guys over at KB's Now and Never Entertainment, for all your music needs, guys, whether it be hip hop, R&B, gospel, you name it. Holla at that man. He's a phenomenal producer. And if you use the word imperfect, he'll give you 50% off on any beat in the beat store. That's for all you content creators out there. Use some of the music; it'll help move your project forward. Next sponsor of the beautiful podcast, Cassie's Classic Designs. See, I'm constantly in something that she's produced. Why? She's my wife, and the production's in my house. But anyway, nevertheless, Cassie's Classic Designs is where it's at. For all your printing needs, whether it be shirts, cups, hats. I don't have one at the moment. Drawers, I have some on, but she didn't print on those. But anyway, any kind of print needs you may need, Cassie's Classic Design. Hit her directly on Instagram at Cassie's_Classic Design. Or hit it directly on Gmail, Cassie'sClassicDesign@gmail.com. Yo, Troy, do your job, man.
So I just realized I forgot we was live, and I don't never shoot from downstairs. So I was getting ready to get up and turn the air on downstairs, and then I remembered I'm like newscasters. I'm like everybody else during COVID when you're from home. I don't got nothing on the bottom, so I didn't get up. I didn't want to scare the audience.
All right. So with that being said, go ahead. I'm gonna throw your ass off the stage for 2 seconds, so, because we didn't want to know that.
He had on that work from home Zoom outfit.
Top heavy, right? Top on heavy.
But then I remembered I got it on my phone. I got the app on the phone, so I'm gonna turn on the air. So listen, y'all. Y'all know I'm crazy as hell. So listen. Me and Doc talked about this last week, as a matter of fact. And you sent me a very interesting clip. I think it was maybe from somebody from a IG Live or whatever. Mm-hmm. So we want to talk about teaching appropriate masculinity to our sons, right? And
while you're talking, Troy, I'm gonna actually try to pull that clip up really quick.
Yeah, see if you could pull that clip up, because it's interesting. You know, the sister is talking about, she's a nail technician, and she was talking how one of her friends had, you know, brought her son over to, you know, I guess keep her son company while she was doing her nails. And they're like, I don't know, I guess maybe they were like 10 years old. So the friend's son comes in and he's 10 years old, and the son is like, yo, we gotta go. So the mother is like, what's the problem? He's like, we gotta go right now. I'm about to get in his ass. Yeah. 10 years old. So as I'm listening to it, I had to pause it because I had to let the whole thing digest, right? Because first of all, my 10-year-old is not getting ready to come in and tell me we going no place, and you're damn sure not getting ready to tell me you getting ready to get in somebody else's ass, right? Or get on his ass. So she proceeds to talk about how, you know, the two boys, you know, they must have maybe came to fisticuffs or, you know, had a little disagreement. But basically, she was not so proud of her son because he wasn't as assertive or as aggressive as this other little boy whose father gets him on a regular basis. She then proceeded to say that her son's father he doesn't see him at all. He doesn't get him on a regular basis. And that women basically can't teach young boys to be masculine, right? So I say all that to say, because I agree with her to a certain degree, right? A woman cannot teach a man to be masculine. A woman cannot teach a man to be a man. But what a woman can teach a man is how to be a gentleman. Mm. And you have a lot of men out here teaching their sons inappropriate masculinity. They are teaching them to abuse their masculinity, and they're not teaching them to be gentlemen. And to me, there's a huge difference in being masculine and being a gentleman. So I'm gonna let y'all jump in on that one.
Go ahead, Mike, because I'm actually trying to pull this clip up.
Phew. Interesting. I don't spend a lot of time on this topic, but you know, when it comes to masculinity, I think there's a few things we got to focus on. We're probably going to touch most of them tonight or whatever, but the biggest thing is, now we going from what I should be teaching my son, or just this clip, because I didn't see the clip yet.
Nah, we just talking about this. I guess for right now, the clip or teaching it. You know, as a matter of fact, being that you didn't see the clip, talk about just how you feel about it from your son perspective.
Okay. I mean, the first thing I would say, you know, definitely just teaching them to do the right thing, right? You know, teaching them how to do the right thing, looking out for other folks. You know, if you hear your kid say something inappropriate, you see them do something inappropriate, I think that's that time to make them aware, right? And that make it a teachable moment. You know, I can see where she coming from. She probably, I mean, was it a fight? Did the kid get beat up per se? Was that what it was?
She didn't say. She just basically said,
basically, you know what it is? I don't want to play the audio through my phone, but I might have to because the file is too big. I think StreamYard won't let me play it through there. Yeah, the file is too big. All right, so I got it right here.
How many minutes?
It's like 3 minutes.
It's like 3 minutes.
It's on YouTube?
No. It's on her page, but I made it. It's actually on my. It's on my Instagram. If you go to my YouTube, my Instagram stories.
All right. I can play it through my
But I'll
speakers.
play it for the people though. Can you hear it?
And my client's son comes into the room. Now, she's brought her son over here before. You know, my salon is a kid-friendly salon. Her son is 10, and he plays with my son, which is 11. So her son comes into the room, and you can tell that he's upset. And she asks him, you know, what's wrong? What's going on with you? And the first thing he said, it's time for me to go. And she said, it's time for you to go? What's wrong? Why is it time for you to go? And he said, because I'm about to get on his ass. Just like that. He said, I'm about to get on his ass. A 10-year-old tells his mama, I'm about to get on his ass. And so I'm like, you know, what's going on? That you got to get on his ass. Okay? So my son comes out the back, and I asked him, you know, what are you guys fighting about? And long story short, it started from them checking, and it wound up going left.
I'm not sure what checking is.
Now, the purpose of this live and the purpose of me feeling some type of way isn't because of them fighting. That doesn't bother me, you know, two young boys fighting, because that's normal. That's going to happen when you got two young boys fighting, because they'll fight each other and then they'll play the game with each other or be back friends, you know, in the next 5 or 10 minutes.
True.
What bothered me was my son wasn't as aggressive as her son. Does that make sense? What I'm saying is the only difference in between these two little black boys, the only difference is her son goes with his daddy faithfully every other fucking weekend. Every other weekend, her son goes with his dad. Okay? Mm-hmm. She said he even gets him sometime during the week. Okay? I'm sorry. I personally know his dad. So I know what type of dad he got. He got a daddy that'll get on your ass too. You know what I'm saying? So basically what I'm saying is he about to get on his ass because his daddy has showed him and taught him for motherfucker fucking with you or some shit about to pop off, get on their ass. Whereas to my son, father does not exist at all. Okay? You talking about a boy who had the last time he seen his daddy was about 4 years ago. And when he saw him that one time, that was his first time seeing him in like 2 or 3 years.
Doc, I think we can stop right there. Because the only thing she talks about is
that has a dad and has seen him.
I didn't.
You know, he can count on his hands how many times he's seen him versus another young man who spends a lot of time with his dad. The point I'm making is, he calling me right now. The point I'm making is, we as women,
Ralph.
when these niggas ain't shit,
Ralph comment.
you know, we feel like fuck that nigga. Fuck that nigga, he ain't shit. I can do it on my own. I don't need him. But what that really taught me firsthand today is women really can't raise a man to be a man.
So her definition of a man is an aggressive dude that's gonna get up in that ass.
Nah, I don't think that's what I see what you take from that, but I took from it because I watched the whole video that she has, because she has a long live, and that's just a clip from it. But what I took from it is that she's nervous because she's realized that all this time, her saying, "Oh well, fuck that nigga, I can do it myself," she's really saying, fuck my son, because you can't do it yourself. She couldn't, and it's not about how her son wasn't aggressive enough. She's scared about in the real world how aggressive he needs to be and won't be, because she couldn't instill that into him. And that's why I think that was so important about hearing that. I want every woman to understand, I don't care how mad you are with that man, you denying him access to that boy is hurting that boy way more than they can hurt that man.
So let me ask you something. What about if having access to that man is detrimental to the boy?
I know you're gonna say that. You're the devil's advocate. I get it, but
I'm not the devil's advocate. Listen, and this might be a little off topic. If the man really wanted to be a part of the son's life,
he'd be there.
Be there.
Yeah, but that's not. We're not talking about that, Troy. That's not the.
Hold on. Let me finish. The reality is, no, a woman can't raise a man to be a man. Right. She can't. She doesn't have the testosterone, right? She doesn't have the experience as a man.
Right.
But what she can raise him to be is a gentleman.
Facts.
She can raise him with respect and morals. And let me tell you, and there's a certain level of, and I was raised by women, so I have it from a different vantage point, right? The men in my house were not present. There is a certain, and I would not take away the way that I was raised, right? Because I learned something classic about being a gentleman. I learned something classic about having a certain level of sensitivity and seeing what type of man I did not want to be, which formed me into the man that I am today. Now, was I soft growing up? Listen, I'm here on live saying, listen, I wasn't the hardest thing coming up in St. Albans, Queens. I was not. I got punked on a regular basis. I got bullied on a regular basis. But it didn't define the man that I am today. Because you got a lot of men, you got a lot of young boys who have fathers in the house and they still can't fight. They still don't know what it's like to be a man. So I think we have to be very careful with the definition. And Mike was doing a great job of defining what masculinity is. Because masculinity is not all about fighting. It's not all about being assertive or being aggressive. So we got to be careful with that, I think.
Nah, I don't doubt that, but that's not where I was going. What I was saying was she's fearful of her son not being able to take on the world. You understand?
He's saying he can relate to that, being that kid, and it didn't affect him about how he operates in the world. Now
with knowing that, Troy, I'm gonna ask you some questions because I didn't know that. Now, because you know me, I'm a little retarded when it comes to it. So I just can't understand that thought. When you said somebody was bullying you, what did you feel? Like you felt helpless?
To a certain degree. I mean, you know, I had an aunt in the house who was a nut job, right? So my aunt would make me go outside and fight. Right. I wasn't raised to fight. My grandmother did not believe in violence. I didn't learn to fight until one of my cousins took me to judo. And that was where I learned to defend myself. But for the most part, you know, I was funny. But when some of the other cats, when they was out being all hard and masculine and ha at the basketball court, I was at their house getting sting finger from their sister.
That's why niggas is bullying your dumb ass. That's probably why niggas is throwing you around.
It was worth the black auto.
Yeah, I can't, bro. That came from left field. Like, oh, okay.
It was worth the black auto.
Yo, Mike, listen, you ain't no guest, so you know he's bound to say some real silly shit on this platform. So it's guaranteed. That nigga said I was getting the stink finger. That's crazy. that's crazy in these streets. But but seriously though, like let's talk about the masculinity part, because what I really wanted to point out was the fact that she admitted something as a woman that most women can't admit. And the power of her saying that, and I cut it at the clip at that very moment when she said it, because I want that to resonate and ring out. Because we have so many women, yes, that you have issues with these dudes, but you have an issue with a dude that's a solid man that can show this young man what life is about. Yes, you and him might have the worst. He might did some things to you. All those things might be true. But what I'm saying is, if you don't want that same thing to happen to another young girl, let that young boy be in his life. Let him see the mistakes his father's making. Because at the end of the day, you can't teach that. And that's what I don't think that I really want to get out there, because at the end of the day, I'm a product of a two-family home, so to speak. My stepfather was never there. I barely know the dude. Shout out to you, George. So at the end of the day, it's like, for me, it's my mother's been my backbone. That's all I know, man or woman. Now, sometimes she confuses me, but at the
Shout out to my Uncle Sharon.
that's my mom. You know what I mean? I appreciate you, boo. But at the end of the day, it's like, she did the best she could. Now, how I found who I am, I must tell you, my father's genes is real, because like I didn't really have a relationship with him, but hearing stories about him and understanding the things he's done in this world is like, oh yeah, that's why I'm the way I am. So there's mad things in my situation, but what I wanted to say was, my mother didn't try to be a man, right? She didn't try to show me how to be a man. She knew that there was things she couldn't teach me. And other men had to pick up the slack. And sad to say, they didn't, but the world did. And I'm still living proof that you could turn your life around. So that's basically the message that I wanted to get out. Now we can head into the masculinity part, because that was something that was really on my heart heavy this week.
That's what's up. When you got to ask though, why, even why she thought that, it wasn't okay for her son to be like, nah, I'm not engaging in the bullshit. Like, I'm not engaging in the fight. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to fight you, bro. Like, you know what I mean? He could have been on some mature stuff. Like, we didn't even look at it. She didn't even look at it like that. He could have been a mature young guy. Like, yo, nah, I'm not fighting you for what?
Right.
You know what I mean? And I say that because I was that type. I wasn't a fighter. I didn't get bullied, but I wasn't a fighter either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I used my mouthpiece before anything. And if I had to get in a fight, you really got me upset, right?
Yeah.
But I always said that my lack of competitiveness earlier on as a kid, I believe was the lack, because my father wasn't there. Like, because my biological father wasn't there, I believe to push me and, just, be that type of masculine energy early on. I think that I lacked in that competitive space as a kid earlier. You know what I mean? I always looked at it like that. I could be wrong, but I've always said that had to be a part of it. You know what I mean? There's a part of, your father being there that's going to really help you to, pick yourself up and keep going, depending on what type of father you got, right? They're all different. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, for me, it was the edge for me. Like, the fact that I didn't really have a pops around, that was the edge for me. It was like, oh, okay, like, I'm gonna figure this out on my own. I don't need you.
See?
You know what I'm saying? Like, then I use that on the basketball court. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what really people don't understand. Like a lot of times, like, yo, why are you so aggressive? Why do you compete so hard? It's be like, yo, I'm not really playing against people. I'm competing against a pop that I wish I had. You dig what I'm saying? I'm competing against somebody that I'm trying to beat in real life that I don't even really know. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's where, like, my edge came from. Used it on the sports wise.
That's what's up.
So what about when there's a situation where what the son is being taught from the father is a dangerous level of masculinity?
Right.
Because
toxic masculinity. Are you talking about?
Oh, I think that's what we called it Thursday night. We called it toxic masculinity. Toxic masculinity.
All wrong. But anyway,
I hate that fucking word. They stress me. It's toxic masculinity. I hear it everywhere. It's just like a fucking plague.
No, but it's a real thing, though, right, Doc? It's a real thing when it comes to.
I can't be toxic. I have curly hair.
Word. Jerry curl masculine. Yeah, right.
Come on, man. Like,
no, but I mean, when you're talking about misogyny, when you're talking about homophobia, when you're talking about
hold on. Let's talk, hold on. Homophobia it's two types of homophobia I've learned now. I've had a run in now. There's two types. There's an educated and uneducated. There's an ignorance, right? There's the ones that have never been introduced to them, that's fearful. Just like, yo, what is this about?
Right.
And then there's the ones that know and just ignorant and just being stupid. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like that's why like you missed the devil's advocate. I had to come in and give you one of your shots too tonight, Tro. I had to.
No, I get it, but again, we're talking about what happens when there is that toxic level of masculinity being taught in the home. The woman in the home recognizes it and does nothing to curb it.
That's dangerous. Like depending on how high that level of toxicity is, though. To be honest, like if is it to the point where he's dominating the house and his aura is and that toxic aura is resting in the home?
Yeah, but we see it a lot.
Yeah, that's bad. That's terrible right there.
I see it working with juveniles, right? You get this kid that's just really like this kid is, you just want to like take off your belt and just, you know what I mean? Like,
come
like
here,
a,
boy.
Like a real smart ass, like really. Like if I wasn't in their school setting, you know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? And then you meet their parent and you're like,
no wonder.
Damn, my bad. I don't even blame this kid for being the way he is. Look at your dad.
Right.
Like, see how he's acting right now. You know,
right.
A grown child.
Right. Facts.
You know what I mean? And then I'm like, okay, now I understand it. You know what I mean? And it's not serving that kid to, you know, raise him to, you know, be disrespectful, be inappropriate, you know what I mean? In the wrong places, wrong times, and things of that nature. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's definitely certain levels to, you know, teaching our kids how to be masculine, you know, and also being respectful. We got to tie all that stuff in together. You know
because
I mean?
honestly, that's the part that Troy was talking about earlier, right? With the whole like being taught from women to be a gentleman. Because like my masculinity has never been in question. The truth of the matter, I wasn't raised by a man, right? I was raised by women. So it's like there's certain levels of respect that you just have to have being raised by women. So I think that any man that was raised by women in this aspect of life and conversation have an advantage, right? Because there was no man to cloud that our judgment in that area. There was no man to lead us astray there to say this is how you're supposed to act. And I take pride in that, to be honest with you. Now as a grown man, I look at my son and I see me now. Everything that I've learned about myself, every bit of armor I've picked up in life and put on my back, I can now see through my son and be proud of it, because he's not pretending to be somebody that I'm pretending to be. I've learned to be who I am at the core level of who I am. So he has no other choice but to learn who he is, because I'm going to reflect that as the mirror I'm supposed to be for him.
Yeah, and we have to be careful that that we teach our sons and the men in our community that, you know, masculinity is about positive leadership. Absolutely. Right? It is about understanding how you lead, right, at the different levels in your life, how you lead at, you know, the elementary school level, your teenage years, your adolescent years, right, your college years. So I think, again, just kind of going back to that video clip, or audio rather, you know, that she was upset because her son wasn't aggressive or assertive. But like Mike said, that might not be what he's about, right? He just took a mature route around it. And I think oftentimes our men who learn to avoid conflict, right, or negative conflict, they get a bad rap for it, right? Just because I didn't throw up, you know, just because we didn't knuckle up, don't make me any less of a man.
You soft, son.
Right.
Right. Really?
Listen, I got that a lot growing up. Because I got that a lot.
Because I choose not to fight.
But like my thing,
this was my moneymaker growing up.
You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, bro.
But see, my thing, like, and I come from a slightly different perspective, because like I wasn't never one not to want to shake. Like if I never went looking for it, but if you brought it to me, I'm never gonna turn it down. It's like offer me a good time. You dig what I'm saying? So it's like my thing is like, as long as respect is given, and I think that's to the point where her fear is she knows what like in her world. Now, which I didn't know, that's a black woman on that. If I didn't know by her voice, that was a black woman. So in her world, right? Let's talk about her world she lives in. She knows that it takes that kind of man to survive in her world. So we all have children on this platform. We all know what it feels like to have fear in your heart when your kid goes out that door so if somebody's picking on them, bullying, do they have what it takes to defend themselves? All those questions go through our mind as parents.
Yeah, that's true.
You see what I'm saying? So her thing more so wasn't about the her son back down. Like, she's like, yo, how many times is he gonna back down? Like, is he gonna back down in the times when he's supposed to stand up? You dig what I'm saying? Because there's times when you're gonna have to stand up. Yo, Troy, you talked about being bullied, bro, but ain't nobody bullying you now. You dig what I'm saying? Like, it was a time in your life where you said, fuck that, enough is enough.
You're right, but I also learned to remove myself from situations.
Yeah, but Troy, life happens. If life happens to you, you prepare for life happening, right? Is what I'm saying.
I am.
As a man, if life happened of some sort, you're prepared to defend yourself right now. Am I right?
Absolutely.
Her fear is her son won't be able to do that.
Yeah, I call my lawyer. I do this.
Okay, we're not even. I gotta get him out of here.
Why?
Because first of all, I'm related to him. It makes my last name sound crazy right now. I can't wait to the family reunion. We're gonna whip his ass.
You're gonna try.
We're gonna jump his old ass.
He said the police are here for a reason.
That's right.
Documentation over
a real reason.
That's exactly right.
Get out of here.
No, but I mean, I think I guess I look at
it. It's not real though. Like, tell me her fear is not real though.
Right, her fear is real, right? And I'm going to tell you, I had a very real fear, which is why I moved to Atlanta. And this is the maturity aspect of it, right? And this is what we also have to teach. So as we look to talk to the Black women in our community about raising their sons, we have to also talk about a certain level of maturity that says, if you do better for yourself, if you educate yourself, if you uplift yourself, you can now remove your son from that element.
That's right.
You can remove your daughters from that element. So when my son was getting ready to go to high school, my ex-wife and I decided, yo,
KB, get on the line, man. Don't talk about what up. Get your behind on the line.
Yeah. We decided that it was time to get out of Queens. Not that Queens was a bad place to live. I lived in Laurelton. But when my son wanted to go to school, he was going to have to pass through Parsons and Archer.
Gang.
So I said, listen, I'm cashing out my 401k. I packed my family up and I moved to Atlanta. Maturity. Maturity.
But
because I elevated myself.
But you had the means.
Huh?
You had the means at the time to do it.
Absolutely. You know why? Because I was raised by a smart woman.
Right.
I'm not sure that and listen, I might get a lot of flack for what I'm about to say.
His name is
I'm not sure that if my pops raised me, I would have had the same opportunities that I have today.
Wow.
I'm gonna just keep it a stack. Knowing the man that he is, listen, I love him.
Right.
But he's a felon.
Yeah, now that I think about it, when you said it, who he is, yeah, you absolutely
right. Knowing who he is,
facts.
I might not have had to say, listen, I might have been out in the street beating ass. I might be a felon today.
Facts.
That's not masculinity.
Yeah.
That's not being a man.
Nah, definitely not. Definitely not.
So we have to teach our women who are single parents raising young boys out here today. Listen, educate yourself, elevate yourself. Get him there. There are plenty of programs. Listen, if you got a young teenager, if you got an adolescent, listen, reach out to the Imperfect Gentleman.
Yeah.
Reach out to the Imperfect Gentleman, because this is a brother who is teaching our men what real true masculinity looks like.
Yeah.
There are programs out there. We just got to reach out.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, yo, like, and this is why I love this platform, because we always have diverse angles that come at the conversation, but it all ties in the same thing. Because at the end of the day, we got to make sure that we're preparing our children, right? And this is what it is. We the reason I said this a few weeks ago, we have so many young kings that's in the grave and behind bars, especially black ones, because they weren't emotionally set up to go into the world. They were physically set up, right? We had the right tools physically. We looked the part, you know what I'm saying? We have everything that comes with it, but we weren't emotionally set up for it, right? A lot of us were even taught some things. My mother was drill sergeant before I walked out the house. So there's a lot of things I was drilled on, right? But at the end of the day, emotionally, I wasn't set up to walk out the door. And a lot of us aren't. So when situations transpire in the real world, when it's time to call on those tools that we're supposed to have when we come out into the real world, we're reaching to an empty holster. Right now, Mike, let me ask you a question. Thank God you're sitting here right now. You haven't. I don't think you've ever had a situation where you had to reach into your holster. But think about how crazy that must feel to have to reach in your holster in the matter of situation and needed that gun to be there and it don't be there. That's why a lot of men, when they run into the police, don't understand. Yo, put your ego and pride to the side. Yes, sir. No, sir. Because your job is not to confront this man. Your job is to get home to your family that loves you. See, but these things are not being taught to give to this man, because you know what? It's not deemed as masculine, right? It's not deemed as the right thing to teach our men just to stand down when their lives are on the line. But the truth,
but that's being taught at both the female level and currently at the male level.
Yeah,
right. And I'm glad you brought that up, because I was actually gonna shoot the mic and say, listen, I know for a fact that a lot of our police departments in this country have mentorship programs, right? But we're in such a state right now that we can't look past. And again, this is where the maturity comes in, that we can't look past what's happening. I'm not, listen, by no means am I trying to take off the table what is happening to our young black men and women out here. But they not all bad.
No.
And if we're looking to get them ahead, if we want to give them a shot, if we want to give them a chance, we got to say, listen, all cops ain't bad, right? Because I grew up PAL. I haven't heard PAL since I left New York, right? Phenomenal programs with PAL.
Now listen, a lot of the stuff too comes from a lack of exposure. You know what I mean? Working in the school and working with juveniles in lower income areas, right? They don't have exposure to much at all, right? And a lot of your maturity, right? A lot of that maturity is going to come from being exposed to different things, you know what I mean? Different things outside of the bubble in which you live, you know? So yeah, education is going to be important to help us to get our kids more exposure, because that masculinity is going to be part of that maturity, right? Growing up and, just having a different perspective. Like, you know what? Like, this is not worth it, because I could be doing all these different things and I can lose all of this if I deal with this situation. This is not worth it. You know what I mean? So we definitely got to focus on exposing our kids to more stuff, man.
Yo, so let me ask you a question. So let's for every man, right? Because one thing that I've learned, there's dictionary definitions, then every man has a definition. I've learned that. I've been asking a lot of questions lately, right? I've been around a few men that I actually admire, so I've been asking a lot of questions, and it's crazy. I ask the same question 3 different times, you get 3 different answers. But it all turns out positive if the man is positive, right? It all comes from a place of positivity. So I want to ask you, fellas, what is your definition of masculinity, man?
That's dope. I guess I'll start. Number one, doing the right thing, right? We got to always lead with doing the right thing first, right? Integrity, super important when it comes to masculinity. Like be somebody, be someone of your word, right?
Right.
Your word is your bond. That's what we used to say, right?
Word is bond.
Right?
Word is bond, fam.
You know what I mean? Teaching,
Son.
and you and you tapped on it a little bit. You know what I mean? Teaching our kids how to, kind of share their thoughts, right?
Right.
A little bit at a time, right? It ain't gonna happen overnight, but taking that little bit of time and getting them to talk, you know what I mean, about what they thinking about, because they do, right? We remember being that age. There's things that we think about, and we needed some clarity on it. And most importantly, I mean, confidence, man, confidence, and positioning them into a leadership role in some way, shape, or form, whether they are you helping them with their personal discipline, or maybe they see other programs outside the home they can be involved with that's going to help them with that leadership piece. Being I had a stepfather. He was there for a lot, but it was still these outside influences that really helped the brother kind of get the life that I have today. You know what I'm saying? That exposure. So I would say those few things, man, is what masculinity really consists of, man, for sure.
Yeah, what kind of weird is that
I
noise?
have no idea.
Yo, it's my security system. The wind is activating my security system, so I'm actually trying to turn it off right now.
My dude got like a smart house. Like
Everything, like the clocks actually clap.
I don't know how to turn it off. So, so here's the thing, right? Listen, for me, masculine, and Mike nailed it, right? So, but for me, masculinity is about leadership, right? And it's about teaching that appropriate level of leadership to our sons, and to our daughters too, right? It is about that level of integrity. And for me, it's also about communication, right? A lot of men think that it's masculine not to communicate. It's masculine not to cry. It's masculine not to talk about our feelings or our emotions. But in order for us to have healthy relationships as men, we have to recognize that our masculinity, when we cry or when we communicate or we say that we need help or we need support, that in no way, shape, fashion, or form are we being emasculated because we sought help, right? I think, a certain level of masculinity comes with being sensitive, recognizing that other people have needs that you can either help them with or not help them with, but recognizing that if you can't support or be of a tool or a vessel to that person, knowing that you got to step away from it and not make the situation worse. And grace. This is something that, KB always talks about. And this was something I've learned over the last couple of years in being a man, and who I am today, is you got to give people grace, man. And you got to give yourself room for grace. Being forgiven, learning to forgive other people, and more importantly, learning to forgive yourself for the mistakes that you made.
Yo, phenomenal, fellas. Phenomenal, because you guys' answers basically tied in, and my definition of the word is basically a balance, right? Because we as men, we talk about this testosterone, right, that flow through us. We talk about that all the time. We hold out nuts. You know what I mean? We grab ourselves. We sometimes we stank on purpose, right? Just so we could feel manly. But guess what?
I don't know about
There's
all that.
estrogen.
Yeah, me either. I don't know. I don't know.
Well, for those brute men out there, those caveman niggas out there. But what I was saying was, but there's estrogen in our bodies too, fellas, that we don't talk about, right? There's some levels of us that are naturally sensitive. We're not to separate our feelings, because you can't separate yourself from your feelings. It's impossible. So at the end of the day, for me, masculinity understanding the balance of life itself. It's not even an understanding of just how much of a man you are, is how much of a person you are, how much you're needed to the people around you, right? How much of a leader are you? That's what, to me, what the masculinity stands for. And then just to be combative to the statement of toxic, what healthy masculinity looks like. Take a picture. Looks like me. Looks like Mike. Looks like TR. Looks like the other men on this platform. That's what healthy masculinity looks like. I can't even speak. But seriously, we have a hard time in justifying certain things about, oh yeah, he's a man if he does this, he's a man if he does that. The truth of the matter is, he's a man when he understands that him being a man doesn't mean him being a man lowers anybody else around him, right? Like you being a man me being a man doesn't make Troy less of a man, right? Being who I am doesn't make Mike less of a man. At the end of the day, we understand that we're all kings in our own right, and we have the right to be kings. So I just wanted to get that on wax, so everybody we can have that recorded about what we feel like masculinity is, because that word and term is just being thrown around, and then they put that heavy word toxic in front of it. And I think that the black man is under so much wage of war right now. It's crazy because we get these terms thrown at us and we don't even know what they mean. Like, yo, when I actually sat down and read the definitions of toxic, I was like, that's messed up. How could you put that in front of masculinity? like that's savage. But then again, I had to go to the other side of the fence and saying that it didn't pop out of nowhere. It had to be somebody portraying these images somewhere, done something that made this come about, because we can't sit here and pretend like there's only one side of the coin, right? Because I have a hard time with my guys on the platform that I get on. We talk about all the good things and all the good guys. Like Troy, you said it before. The scumbag listen to the Imperfect Fathers podcast too.
So that's right.
Yeah.
They out here listening and they out here paying attention, and they're doing the work sometimes that we as men have to apologize for. So, and another thing I wanted to point out, this what happened this week. I had opportunity, y'all. And I really want y'all to listen to this and hear this well, because every man that hears this podcast should really think about this. If we say we are brother's keepers, right? We say that. I am my brother's keeper.
Right.
Sometimes you're going to have to apologize for some of the things that your brothers have done. See, a lot of times we get caught up, and women come to us telling us their stories about all the men that done them wrong, and we like, oh, well, you should have did X, Y, Z. The truth of the matter is sometimes that queen just needs to hear, you know what, queen, I apologize for my brother. Because it's not about what she's done. It's about the healing that she needs to move forward. So I've learned this week, we really got to make sure and do a good job of not pointing fingers, but pointing in the direction of healing for not just our brothers, but also our sisters.
Bro, you gonna have a shit ton of panties in your P.O. box tomorrow.
yo, wait a minute. Troy.
All the ladies is gonna be mailing you panties behind that one, bro. Cassie, I'm just letting you know there's nothing he did. He just spoke facts.
Yo, but I'm gonna tell you how old Troy is, y'all. He said they gonna send him in the P.O. box.
I just showed my age.
Not the DM, no. Not the DM.
Not the DM, your P.O. box.
They gonna be physically in the P.O. box. That's gonna be a
Your
stank ass P.O. box. Lord have mercy. If you gonna put them in the P.O. box, please wash them, ladies, first. I'm just saying that's Troy is stupid. I don't know why we going down that rabbit hole. Yo, man, but in all seriousness, man, I really felt like this week I learned that, man. And also down there I learned it, but I also heard a woman affirm it because she did it on another platform on Clubhouse. Early this week on Tuesday on the Black Man Therapy, we spoke about being our brother's keepers and what it really looked like. And it hit home to me because I was like, I've been in a position where a woman has come to me and be like, yo, you know, this dude did X, Y, Z. And I'm like, well, stupid, you chose him, right? Like, what? That's how we normally come. But it's like, I thought to myself, wow, how much in pain, first of all, was she in? Like to come to me with that, and what could I have relieved in her life had I just said, yeah, I apologize for that, dude. We're not all like that. He hasn't found that maturity level yet. You know what I'm saying? Like, what could I have done for her? You know what I'm saying? So after that hit me in the head, I was like, yo, listen, we gotta get into the point where we're not just pointing fingers at our past, but showing people the direction of healing. Like, your healing's over here. Like, come over here with me right quick. Let me show you what this healing is like.
And for me, that is what that masculinity looks like, and that's what it should look like, right? Yeah. That is what, you know, as we teach our sons to mature and to progress and to go out into this world, it is teaching them things like that. I don't always think masculinity is about fighting. I do believe it is about confidence. I do believe it is about standing up for yourself, right? But I don't believe it always relates to a physical altercation. I don't always believe it relates to what did she say? I'm about to get in his ass or get on his ass. I don't believe it always relates to that, right? I don't think that's, I don't think that's necessarily what masculinity always is about.
Now it's not always though, Troy, but it's sometimes when you're gonna have to get on somebody's ass though, Troy. Like let's not keep it like let's not forget that there's a part of the world like you said before, where she lives at, where it's gonna come a time where he gonna have to get on somebody's ass or get somebody off his ass. You dig what I'm saying? And that's where my mother had me at. You're not gonna just have somebody keep constantly jumping on you, because I'll jump on you, and that's the difference with me. Like, I'm not really too scared to meet other people in the world because I don't want to deal with Sharon. So I'd much rather fight anybody else. You dig what I'm saying? Like, I don't mind fighting. I'm going the distance, whatever. But I don't want to deal with her.
I can dig it.
So I think I said before, it's the balance. Like, there are some times when you're supposed to walk away, Kings. Don't get that twisted, because your life is definitely worth more than any situation. Let's not get that twisted or tangled at all on this platform. Your life is more valuable than any circumstance or situation. But there's going to come a time where as a man must stand up. And I stand firmly in that. Because you can't keep being walked over, because at the end of the day, you can't let somebody walk over you. But that doesn't also mean all the time it comes to violence. Sometimes you can stand your ground by just simply standing your ground as a man, simply. But if you have to get on somebody's ass, get all over that thing. That's my motto. You dig what I'm saying? If you have to.
If you're gonna take an L, just take it. Take the
Don't
L.
take it.
Sometimes you gotta take an L in life. It's all good.
Yo,
It's
Mike,
all
I'm so
good.
glad you said that, because like I'm not gonna sit here in front. I've taken my share of whippings of ass. I'm ass whipping. But the truth is, you can't give one if you ain't taking one. You see what I'm saying? So
real talk.
my chin is chin checked and mother approved, nigga.
You can't get one of you in your car, call a 911 either. I'm just saying.
But also, as men, we got to respect the young bloods that say, yeah, like, yo, I salute you for being a responsible one. I salute you for saying, you know what, I'm good, right? I salute you for not engaging in the fuckery, right? You gotta salute. You know what I mean? We gotta start giving people, cheering them up and bigging up these kids for making the decision that can ultimately be embarrassing, right? It could be embarrassing, for them in front of other children, right? But we gotta start saluting them and praising them for making the right move.
And Mike, it's crazy that you said that, because that was a thing I learned from my grandmother, right? My grandmother said, do not go out here and embarrass me.
Look at this one.
She said,
shout out to Moni. If anybody keeps it real on my platform, I mess with them hard body. Yo, thank you for keeping it in the stack. Don't nobody want no suck out here in these streets. Let me tell y'all, I don't know if Troy has any pending cases out here, but I might mess him up right now. Listen, Troy ain't no sucker. Like he might be sitting here on this. He's my cousin. This is my blood. Like it can't be. So what I'm telling y'all is, don't run up on him, because you might find that all this shit he's talking on his platform might not be the truth. You think I'm saying? I just got to put that out there. So if you do have any pending cases, I apologize early.
I don't got no. Listen, I believe in smart masculinity. Right. I'm gonna try to. I believe in smart masculinity, man. I
like that.
That's how I've always lived my life. Smart masculinity.
Yeah, man. I always smooth with it. Like, I'm just not going to engage where I don't need to be engaging. Like, I know how that crowd get down. I'm not going over there. Like, I don't want no parts of that. You know what I'm saying?
Simone, I'm just gonna say, don't let the smooth taste fool you. Don't let the smooth taste fool you.
It's that
I will get on an ass if I need
to. Yo, man, this has been a phenomenal win. We coming down to the last few minutes, so you guys know, in order for us to leave this platform, we got to leave with value, right? We come in, we laugh, we joke, we entertain, we motivate, we inspire, but then we have to leave with the value that continues to go with you through the week that you can live on. So with that being said, yo, Mike, leave somebody with some of that good value, man.
I'm gonna keep it simple because I ain't that deep. But
Hey,
you know, but real talk,
put it on a
man. Just
t-shirt, Mike. That's your shirt.
just teach them. I think integrity is the most important. Helping them that teaching them that what other people think of you is not where the value lies, right? It's about staying safe. It's about doing the right thing. It's about looking out for the long-term situation, right? If I engage in this, right, this could be the outcome, right? So if we teach, if we recognize something that they say, we see something, some moves that they made, something that they done, it's our job to have that conversation with them to make sure that moving forward, at least they got options when they make that decision, right? And not just teaching them is, it's just one thing. We don't have to muscle and beat up everybody. But I get it. I understood the young lady in the clip. I get it. We all worry about, our kids going to school and getting bullied, not being able to handle themselves, but having the right conversations every day, you'll find that they probably won't even put themselves in those positions.
Powerful. TR, what you got, baby?
I'm going to say to all of my single mothers out there, to all of my single fathers out there, and to all of, the people who out there who are co-parenting, whether you are, doing it from separate households or doing it cohesively together in the same household, recognize that you don't have to do it alone, right? So I think we stopped using it takes a village. Use your village, right? We don't have all the answers when it comes to, teaching our children, especially when it comes to teaching our young Black sons. Seek the help, right? There are a lot of outlets out there. There are a lot of resources, right, out there from, your church, guidance counselors at school, mental health, right, professionals. Get your kids involved in an activity. And just remember, all activities for our young Black men do not have to be athletics. Right?
Powerful, Troy.
They don't always have to be athletics. Engage our young Black men's brains. We are some of the smartest beings on earth. Engineers, doctors, lawyers, right? Let us continue to be great. Don't use your kids as an escape.
Wow.
Football may not be for them. Golf might be. Tennis might be. Soccer, skiing, ice skating. I'm just saying. Don't limit it.
You name it mad Caucasian sports. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. and we've dominated all of those mad Caucasian sports.
Yeah, man.
Except curling. I still can't get into that one. Can't get into curling.
Yo, man, listen, this has been a dope conversation. I hope everyone out there that has listened to us tonight and that will listen at a later date on Apple, Spotify, or any of your podcast platforms, take this and really apply this to your life, man, because this conversation was rich tonight. There was a lot of things that can be applied to life and also understanding, right? Because we have to learn to stop really, like I said before, pointing fingers at each other and meeting each other where people are, and showing them a better way. So with that being said, guys, this week my topic, my tip for confidence this week is this. Understand that your confidence, true confidence, is when you believe in yourself and your attributes, right? Arrogance is when you think that you're better than somebody else. That's the difference. Never get those two confused. If you do that, you'll be fine in life. With that being said, guys, you know the vibe. You know our energy. Fathers, to the world, you're just a dad. That's all you are. But to your family, you're the world. Don't you never forget that. Hold that dearly. But until the next time we see you, though, I can't even speak. I got that dry mouth over here. Be good to yourself and the ones around you. But if you can't be good to the ones around you, it's all right. Just get those folk from around you. Yo, this is RJD, the Imperfect Gentleman. And this has been the Imperfect Fathers Podcast. Peace, y'all.
Peace.
Yo, all you breakthrough kings, go to bed.
I'm gone right now. We not even staying up past this.
This is Make It Count Monday right here.
Make it count.
All right, fellas. Later.